Hello and welcome everyone. Great to be here with you today for our Zohar reading for world peace. My name is Julian and I'm very happy to be with you for the next half an hour. We'll be engaging in this very powerful spiritual practice, and today we'll be reading a portion of the Zohar, specifically Lecha, or go forth, section as we continue this journey to deepen our connection to each other. As always, we have a wonderful group of friends from around the world. We have a community of Kabbalah students, practitioners from around the world, and we're very thrilled to have a few of them with us today. So I'm just going to jump on here. We have currently 11 friends connected. Carly from California. Hi, Carly. Great to have you. And on Facebook we have a few connections as well. So welcome to all of you. Happy holiday. If you're celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to everyone. We are definitely in times of wonderful world peace during these few days. Casey from Brizendine, Shalom, Alechem. Shalom to you too, Casey. And what we're going to do is we will just wait for a few more friends to connect, and then we're going to go into a clip from Rav Laitman talking about why we read the Zohar, the power of the Zohar. And then after that we'll go straight into the reading. Okay? All right, so let's go.
As some network, like it already is understood by people who are knowledgeable in that, who research that, those intelligent people who have an interest in understanding how the world works and so on. Some people are of those 10% altruists who kind of feel the connection of the world as well. But if everything is connected, it doesn't mean that much anything yet. Okay, if everything is connected, I need to be nice to others. Fine. But if, to the extent that I understand the connection in the world, I have to start operating the world, because otherwise nothing is working. The economic system, the financial system, the food system, the work system, nothing is working in the connection between people. So I have to start studying that. Where will I study that? It doesn't talk about it anywhere. Where's the university that teaches it? Where is this map that explains how everything is connected? This has to be discovered between us. How? We want things to be safe. We want everything in life to be there for us, for our children. We don't want hurricanes and other natural disasters and so on. So we have to know the right connection between us. How will we know it? So, it is said that in this special book called the Book of Zohar, it talks about the connection between you. If you long for that, read. So I start and switching the pages, another page and another page, and you start seeing that it's working, and people will see it, because when masses engage in something, it begins to be, they will still have to be somewhat connected to the sources. Somewhat. It's like, religious people today. They don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're just, they're reading all kinds of things, even if they don't understand exactly what it is. Because the whole Torah actually speaks about connection between people, but they study it differently.
Lecha, go forth. " Listen to me, you stubborn-minded. Why was Abraham rewarded more than all his contemporaries, with the Creator telling him, "Go forth"? And he said, "Listen to me, you stubborn-minded. You are far from righteousness." Listen to me, you stubborn-minded, meaning, how hard are the hearts of the wicked, who see the trails and ways of Torah, the internality and externality of the Torah. The trails are the internality, and the ways are the externality. And do not look at them. Their hearts are hard, since they do not return to their Maker in repentance. This is why they are called stubborn-hearted, who are far from righteousness, meaning far from the Torah, and hence far from righteousness. They are called stubborn-hearted because they are far from the Creator. It writes, "Who are far from the righteous?" Because they do not wish to draw near the Creator. And since they are far from the righteousness, they are far from peace. As it is written, "There is no peace, said the Lord to the wicked." Since they are far from righteousness. From the side of her din, Malchut is called Tzedek, without the letter Hey. In the great zivug of Tzaddik and Tzedek, when the Nukva rises and clothes Ima, she is called Tzedekah. In other words, she becomes Rachamim. This is so because she received the letter Hey of Ima, since she clothes her. And through the man that the righteous raise to the Nukva, what she is called Tzedek, they cause a high zivug, and Tzedek turns into Tzedekah, that is, the din becomes Rachamim. This is the meaning of the words, "Listen to me, you stubborn-minded," because they are stubborn-hearted and do not raise man by looking in the Torah and by penance. They are remote from tzedakah, since they are in dinim de tzedek, without the letter Hey, the mochin de Ima. And because they draw far from the Torah and do not raise man from the high zivug, they are far from tzedakah, righteousness, and are in dinim de tzedek. Thus they have no love for the Creator, and they are far from turning the tzedek into tzedekah, meaning the din into rachamim, for they are not raising man for zivug. And because they are far from tzedakah, they are far from peace. Also, because they do not raise man to turn the tzedek into tzedekah, they have no peace, since they do not cause the high zivug called peace. Thus peace does not shine upon them. Abraham wanted to bring himself closer to the Creator, and he did, as it is written, "You have loved tzedek and hated wickedness." Because he loved tzedek and hated wickedness, he grew closer to tzedekah. In other words, because he loved tzedek, he raised man for a high zivug, and the tzedek became tzedekah for him. This is why it is written, "Abraham who loves me," since it is written about him, "You have loved righteousness," which is the love of the Creator. For Abraham loved him more than all his contemporaries, who were stubborn-hearted and far from righteousness. What the world stands on. When people should observe the work of the Creator, after all the people do not know and do not consider what the world stands on and what they themselves stand on. And those two things are clarified in the essay below. When the Creator created the world, he made the heaven from fire and water, and they were mingled together and did not freeze. Afterwards it froze and stood in the upper ruach. This is so because in the order of elicitation of the mochin, first the two lines, right and left, come out. These are the 2 points, olam and shuruk, which are called water and fire. They are disputed with each other, which means that each infiltrates the boundary of the other and wishes to subdue him under himself, like 2 moist things that mingle with one another. Finally, the level of chasadim appears on the masach de tiferet, the 3rd line, which decides between them so that each will illuminate according to its own way, and they will no longer mingle with one another. This is considered that the 2 lines that were moist and mingled with one another have now been frozen by the middle line, which is tiferet, and will no longer mingle with one another. It was said that when the Creator, Binah, created the world, Nukva, he made heaven, Zerampin, from fire, which is the left line, and from water, which is the right line. They mingled together and did not freeze, for they were disputed among themselves, and each interfered with the other's boundary to subdue him under himself, as it is the nature of liquids that mix with one another. After the middle line came out, the 2 lines froze and stood because of the middle line, tiferet ruach. It became like solid objects, where one cannot penetrate the boundary of the other. From there, from Zerampin, he planted the world, Nukva, to stand on plinths, the 3 lines of Nukva that stand in that ruach, meaning the middle line in them. And when the ruach departs, they all become loose and shake, and the world trembles. This is so because as the lines of Zerampin froze and stood in the upper ruach, the lines of Nukva that extend from Zerampin stand only in that ruach, since without the middle line there is no sustenance to the illumination of the 2 lines whatsoever. Everything stands on Torah, since when Israel engage in Torah, when they raise man to Zon and extend the middle line, which is the Torah, the world exists, and those pillars and plinths, the 3 lines of Zerampin that are called pillars, and the 3 lines of the Nukva, which are called plinths, are in complete sustenance. At that time it is said about the Nukva, "How lovely are your tabernacles," since the tabernacle is the Nukva, and the world stands on the Ruach, the middle line. Henceforth he explains how people stand and persist only on the middle line. When the midnight awakens and the Creator enters the Garden of Eden to play with the righteous, all the trees in the Garden of Eden sing and praise before him, as it is written, "Then shall all the trees of the wood sing for joy before the Lord, for he has come." The night is the Nukva with respect to her own dominion. She is essentially the illumination of the left line from the illumination of Chokhmah that extends from the point of Shuruk in Ima. Also, Chokhmah shines only from the Chazeh down, because the Manula governs from the Chazeh and above of each Parsuf. And the illumination of Chokhmah cannot appear there. This is a division of the night into two halves, since the point of midnight is the point of Chazeh. The first midnight is from the Chazeh of Nukva and above, and because the Manula governs there, she is Dinim. The second midnight is from Chazeh of Nukva and below, where the Malchut that is mitigated in Binah governs. The Miftacha, hence the illumination of Chokhmah, that is in the Nukva appears there. This is the meaning of she rises while it is still night. In that respect too, the Nukva is called the Garden of Eden, since from the Chazeh down, her own essence is absent, meaning the Malchut of Midat Chadin. Hence, she is completely mitigated and becomes like Ima, who is called Eden, when Bina returns to Chokhmah. This is why she is called the Garden of Eden. When the middle of the night the Nukva awakens to receive the mitigation of Bina, to shine from the Chazeh down in her, which is the Garden of Eden, the Creator enters the Garden of Eden to play with the righteous. In other words, the righteous raise man and extend illumination of the middle line there, which is the Creator who shines in the Garden of Eden. All the trees in the Garden of Eden sing and praise before him, as it is written, "Then shall all the trees of the wood sing for joy." The trees of the wood are infertile trees, which do not bear fruit. Before the coming of the Creator, the Sefirot of Nukva were regarded as the trees of the wood, which have no fruits to them. After the illumination of the Creator enters there through the righteous, the trees of the wood sing for joy before the Lord, for he has come and bear fruit. At that time a herald comes out and declares aloud, "To you, holy heroes, to those of you who allowed spirit in their ears so they can hear, whose eyes are open to see, and whose hearts are open to know. Through this herald, the righteous awaken to rise from their slumber, to engage in Torah, and they extend the middle line. Ears are Bina, and their light is called hearing. Eyes are Chokhmah, and their light is called seeing. At night, the eyes are shut, since they cannot shine due to the dinim. At midnight, the illumination of the left from Ima arrives, while it is illumination of Chokhmah from the point of Shuruk in Ima. Although the force of seeing is already there, it is still impossible to open the eyes because the light of Chasadim is still absent, and Chokhmah does not shine without Chasadim. At that time the righteous arise to engage in Torah and raise man to Zon. And Zerampin rises for man to the two lines that extend there from the 2 points Olam, Shuruk in Bina. Then the level of Chasadim extends over the Masach de Zerampin, which decides between the 2 lines, and they are included in one another. The Chokhmah in the left dresses in the Chasadim in the right, and she can shine. This is when the eyes open. Those among you who put spirit in his eyes so as to hear, since the righteous raise man in the engagement of Torah and instill the Ruach, the middle line, Zerampin, to the ears, which are the two lines in Bina, through which the Chokhmah in the left dresses in the Chasadim on the right. At that time, the eyes, Chokhmah, open to see, since they can shine once they have been clothed in Chasadim. The middle line is called Dat, and then these three lines become Chabad in Bina, from which they are extended to Chabad Dezon, and from there to Chabad of the souls of the righteous. All those mochin come out through their engagement in Torah. And this Dat, which is the deciding line in Hub of the Rosh, overturns and shines from above downwards to the Guf. And the Dat in the Rosh spreads downwards and fills the heart and the whole body. This is the herald that comes at midnight, at the start of the illumination of the left line, from the point of Shuruk, for the righteous to raise man, for extension of the middle line. The herald comes out and calls aloud because it is in the blocking of the dinim of the point of Shuruk. This is why it is discerned that he comes out with great force and calls upon the righteous to correct him. Before us, in the clarification of the order of extension of the three lines from Bina to Zerampin, from Zerampin to Nukva, from Nukva to the souls of the righteous. When the wind that is the root of all winds raises the sweetness of the soul, and the voice that is the root of all voices comes from there, the forces spread to the four directions of the world. Zerampin, which rises and decides between the two lines in Bina, is called the Ruach of all the Ruchot, because it is the root, middle line, from whom the middle lines extend to all the degrees. Neshama is Bina, because the light of Bina is called Neshama, and once the Ruach, Zerampin, rises to the Ausanim, which are Bina, and decided between the two lines in her, the Ruach became an audible sound. This means that prior to the decision of the Ruach, no lights were heard in Bina, which is called Aushainim, and the Ruach activated the hearing in them because they were completed through it and they shine outwards. When Zerampin rose to Bina and raises the mitigation of the lights of Bina, called Neshama, to there, it means that he revealed the three lines Chabad there. After the Ruach revealed the three lines and a voice was made, it comes out of there and becomes the root of all the voices because it comes out and spreads downward. Its powers spread and scatter to the four directions of the world, to Zerampin and Nukva below, to Bina, because south, north, and east are Zerampin, and west is Nukva. One rises to the right side of Zerampin. This is south, which extends from the point of Cholam of Bina. Another descends to the left side of Zerampin, which is the north, extending from the point of Shuruk in Bina. One that enters between two is the middle line of Zerampin, east, which extends from the point of Hirik in Bina, meaning from Zerampin, to decide between the two lines in Bina. Those three lines, south, north, and east, are Chagat in Zerampin. And what he says concerning the illumination of the right, that one rises, means that its illumination rises from below upward. And when he says concerning the illumination of the left, that one descends, it means that its illumination descends from above downward, since it concerns the order of their elicitation before the emergence of the middle line. Up to here. Okay, friends, so we have just finished reading our portion for today. What a joy it is to be with you, to read the Book of Zohar, full of light. It soothes our soul, it replenishes us, it strengthens us in our spiritual work, in our work of peace towards the world, and in the connection between us. We'll finish today with another clip from Rav Laitman, our dear teacher. And I wish you all happy holidays. Be connected, attract the light, and all the best in your spiritual journey. Much love.
Around us, the still vegetative, animate, and the Zohar talks only about one individual, which is each and every one of us. And all that seems to us to be outside of us is really inside of us. All that we know from the world around us, the still vegetative, animate, and people around us are all qualities of our soul, and this is how they appear to us as though they are outside. To the extent that a person develops spiritually, the picture of the outside world begins to sort of disappear. This is why our world is called an imaginary world and our reality is referred to as a dream. Within each and every person in the world, doesn't matter who or where, man or woman, whatever nationality or age, doesn't matter. Within each and every one of us, the same forces exist. I have to delve into my own system and study my inner system, and out of the desire to recognize my inner system, I begin to see the Creator's qualities and forces in it. I begin to see Him operating everything within me.